Welcome to the Fear and Greed Afternoon Report for Wednesday, the 25th of May, 2022. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon, I bring you the 5 news items that happened today that you need to know about. Right, story number 1. The S&P ASX 200 finished up 0.4% today to 7,155 points, notwithstanding a pretty severe final hour sell-off. BHP was down 10%. That's because the big Australian traded ex-dividend for its in-specie dividend. What's that mean in English? Well, it means the share market split out the value of BHP Petroleum from BHP itself. Now, the petroleum business will merge with Woodside next week, and obviously the market thought that was worth about 10% of BHP's overall business. All the major banks were up more than 1%, again led by National Australia Bank. Some of the more defensive stocks, including Telstra and the big retailers, did better. Coles and Woolworths both rose by 2%. But the tech stocks again had a poor day, with Computershare down 5% and WiseTech Global off more than 3%. It was a good day for the local gold diggers after the precious metal continued its run. Fears that the global economy will slow down and potentially push into recession has encouraged a flight to quality, and gold is quality. Perseus Mining, St Barbara and Evolution Mining all did well. Northern Star was up by 2.7% and market leader Newcrest Mining finished 1% higher. Story number 2. The government is about to roll out a 4th COVID vaccine to 1.5 million Australians. It will be made available to people with chronic health conditions and compromised immune systems. The goal is to roll it out before the middle of winter. There are still plenty of cases of COVID being reported across the country. 13,000 more in Victoria today, more than 12,400 in Western Australia, nearly 9,000 in New South Wales, 5,600 in Queensland and 4,000 in South Australia. Story number 3. Anthony Albanese flew out of Tokyo bound for Canberra this morning. The new Prime Minister said he'd act with honesty and integrity when dealing with world leaders in an attempt to differentiate himself from Scott Morrison. Mr Albanese said he would visit Washington soon, and he discussed with the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi the possibility of an education exchange, including Australian universities setting up in India. Meanwhile, the new independents are already putting pressure on the Labor government to do more on climate change. Incoming Wentworth MP Allegra Spender says the Albanese government must agree to lift its 2030 emissions reduction target beyond 43%. And finally, former Defence Minister Peter Dutton will be the sole contender for the Liberal Party leadership. Story number 4. The New Zealand Central Bank has lifted the official interest rate by 0.5%. The Reserve Bank of New Zealand pushed the cash rate to 2%, which is much higher than Australia's cash rate of 0.35%. The New Zealand Central Bank projected the rate would rise to at least 3.25%. Still some way to go. The bank says it wants to get inflation back down between 1% and 3%. A big winner was the Kiwi dollar, which rose to its highest level in 3 weeks. And story number 5, President Joe Biden has called for new restrictions on firearms after a gunman opened fire at a Texas school this morning. 19 children and 3 adults were killed in the deadliest school shooting ever in Texas. Mr. Biden said it was time to stand up to the gun lobby. The 18-year-old gunman had purchased 2 military-style rifles on his birthday, killed his grandmother, and then went to the school, moving from classroom to classroom, killing indiscriminately. He was eventually shot and killed by a Border Patrol agent who was working nearby. That's it for the afternoon report for Wednesday, the 25th of May, 2022. Michael Thompson and I will be back tomorrow morning for the Thursday edition of Fear and Greed. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.